Good day, everyone. A warm welcome to you all. Thank you for joining us for the webinar today, organized by the Economic Development Board of Mauritius. Today's webinar will feature residency by investment in the real estate sector in Mauritius. My name is Amal Manharan from the Economic Development Board, and I will be the moderator of the webinar today. I am delighted that so many of you are able to join us today. Before we start, I would like to briefly introduce our panel of expert or speakers that we have. First of all, our first speaker would be Mr. Sachin Moravia, Director of Real Estate and Hospitality at the Economic Development Board. Mr. Mohabir is an expert in the real estate and property sector. He has been actively involved in developing investment policies and devising programs to attract investment in residential, industrial, and commercial real estate projects. He is also actively engaged in project facilitation, implementation, and monitoring. Our next speaker is Mr. Siraj Nanlal, currently Economic Counselor for Market and Trade in Mumbai office, India. Mr. Nanlal held the position of Director of Manufacturing, Agro-Industry and Energy at EDB in Mauritius and was involved also in investment promotion and project facilitation. In 2016, he took office as Economic Counselor for EDB in India. Our third presenter speaker is Mr. Dawal Batul, Head of Private Wealth Management, SPM India. Mr. Batul has over 40 in product structuring, trade products, product management, sales and marketing, and is a strategic planner with expertise in onshore and offshore products. We have also among us Ms. Rene Boschoff, real estate consultant and expert from Two Futures Management Limited. Ms. Rene has worked in advertising and marketing for more than 20 years and has been involved in the lifestyle and luxury sector, both in South Africa and Mauritius. Before may I remind everyone to please mute your microphones during the entire session. Each speaker will have only 10 minutes to allocate. Participants may type in your questions in the chat box while the webinar will be ongoing, and we shall take questions at the end of the interventions by panelists in the Q&A session. I hope that this webinar will provide you with insights that will help you prepare and make sound decisions about opportunities for investment in Mauritius. Without further ado, I shall now invite our first speaker, Mr. Mohabeer, to make his presentation.
Thank you, Amal. It is with great pleasure that I am among you today for this webinar. My presentation will focus on how Mauritius is an ideal destination for retirees and property investments. Why Mauritius is so attractive for retirees is not just because it is a tropical island, and like many tropical islands, it is lush green, has colorful vegetation throughout the year, but also the climate is very pleasant and allows the visitors to have perfect holidays all year round. Mauritius is safe. You can decide to come to Mauritius at any time once the borders are open, and you will be sure to have a comfortable whether you stay a luxury villa or an apartment, to stay and a very good healthcare system. As you are aware, the island of Mauritius is strategically located in the Indian Ocean, midway between the developing continents of Asia, Africa, and Australia. The island is a global nation, home to multi-ethnic and multicultural population, a carrefour of some of the oldest civilizations, namely China, India, Africa, and Europe. Mauritius at a glance. Mauritius, with a population of 1.3 million people, has a sophisticated and highly successful free market economy, heavily reliant on export, with a GDP per capita of 12,500 USD. The country has embarked on a bold series of reforms to further diversify the economic base, thus enabling the country to be more resilient to external shock. Mauritius offers a safe and stable, predictable environment. In a nutshell, Mauritius can be regarded as a great place to live with future-ready infrastructure, global connectivity, and world-class talent. It has a low tax jurisdiction with low corporate and personal taxes, business-friendly regulation, a stable democracy, a country that is pleasant to live in with excellent telecommunication and good healthcare and education facilities. Mauritius is a mosaic of cultures. The history and religion of Mauritius have created a mosaic of cultures. English is the official language of Mauritius, but many people are also fluent in French and in Hindi. Mauritius has a diversified economy. In brief, I may say that Mauritius offers excellent business opportunities in the following industry clusters: manufacturing, financial services, information and communication technology, logistic and supply chain management, pharmaceutical, biotechnology, professional services, to name a few. In terms of international benchmark, today Mauritius owns a highly valued image and brand equity which has been built over the past years. It has forged a solid reputation in terms of ethics, good, transparent governance, economic and political freedom. Mauritius offers an unparalleled ease in the way we do business and support industries and businesses. Ranked 30th in terms of the World Bank Doing Business report, Mauritius is continuously improving its business environment. The country remained first in Africa. It is a consequence of a multi-pronged approach in addressing both administrative and legislative impediments to doing business. The business environment and the infrastructure. The Mauritius' political stability, transparent regulatory system, and sound governance frameworks underpin its economic resilience. Mauritius is seen as a low-tax jurisdiction with a standard tax rate of 15% of both personal and corporate income tax. There is no withholding tax on dividends and no capital gains. Tax holidays over a period of 8 years are provided to innovative activities, smart cities, and a number of other economic activities. Most important, there is no exchange control in Mauritius, and the principle of free movement of capital is acquired. It is therefore possible to send home funds invested, the profits, capital gains, dividends, outside Mauritius without any restriction or a particular formality of going to the central bank. With respect to taxes, there are no taxes or dividend, I just mentioned. No capital gains, no wealth tax, no inheritance taxes for direct descendants when a property is transferred. There is no property tax or housing tax in Mauritius. The only real estate tax when you acquire a property is levied at the rate of 5% on the purchase of any movable property, and it's 5% on the purchasing price. Today, Mauritius takes advantage of its strategic position at the crossroad of Africa, Asia, and Australia. It has gradually transformed itself into a center and international court for investors in search of security, transparency, higher value added, a platform for creating, to invest and create activities, not only in Mauritius, but also in Africa. Mauritius has a secure judicial system, a trusted legislative framework. The legal system of Mauritius is governed by the French Code Napoleon, the French Civil Code, and the British law based on the common law principle. Its legal procedure derives mainly from the English legal system. The independence of the judiciary empowers the courts to uphold the rule of law and to act as guardians of the fundamental rights of the citizen entrenched in the Constitution of Mauritius. The Judicial Committee of the Privy Council is the highest court of appeal. Mauritius has a banking system, a modern banking system with international banks, which are regulated by the Bank of Mauritius. Talking on the financial services, let me say that the Mauritius International Financial Center offers a panoply of competitive financial products and services, including private banking, global business, insurance and reinsurance activities, investment banking, global headquarter administration, among others. Banks in Mauritius provide specialized services such as fund administration, custodian services, trusteeship services, structured lending, structured trade finance, international portfolio management, investment banking, private client activities, among others. The acquisition of luxurious residential properties today is possible in Mauritius. Actually, in Mauritius, we have had a very restrictive regime of not allowing non-citizens to buy properties in Mauritius. But with a number of schemes that have been put in place, non-citizens today can tap into a golden opportunity of a well-established luxury and property market. Non-citizens may acquire villas and apartments as a unique asset class for investment purpose or as a second home. The residences acquired may be put on rental. Projects are required to make provision for high-class leisure and recreational facilities such as golf course. You may have a marina, nautical, and other facilities, health centers associated with those properties acquired. There are several stunning projects that are being developed all over the island where you can come and acquire and become owner of residential properties in Mauritius. And these properties are being developed under approved schemes. The Property Development Scheme, the Smart City Scheme, and previously we had the Integrated Resort Scheme, the IOS, and the Real Estate Scheme, the RES. To put it simple, you may acquire a residential property in Mauritius either under the property scheme, the PDS, the Smart City, the IOS, or OES, or you may acquire as a non-citizen an apartment located in a ground plus two building. And many of these properties are being developed in smart cities that are being developed all over the island. In fact, we have 12 smart cities that are being developed, and these smart cities revolve around the work, live, and play concept. They incorporate a mix of projects and development, mixed-use development, located in cosmopolitan conurbation with smart technology and pioneering innovation at the core. A non-citizen who has acquired a residential property under the different scheme, the IOS, the OES, the PDS, or is a smart city, is granted a residence permit where the investment is above 375,000 USD. These properties may be acquired off plan. On acquisition, you will have full title to the property, and these property are freehold. You may remain owner of the property for so long as you intend or you keep the property, you've not sold the property, and the title deed is registered with the state, the government. The deed is prepared by a notary public in Mauritius, and on registration of the deed, a registration duty at the rate of 5% is payable, which is levied on the value of the property. You may also acquire a property using different legal structure, either a company, a society, a foundation, a trust, or a partnership, or you may also own the property under your own name or jointly with your spouse. The acquisition of residential property, as I said, grant you residency. Also, you may rent those properties. And the most important thing is the real estate market in Mauritius has matured, and investment is regarded as an investment into an asset class. The differentiation of opportunities has, to a degree, expanded. We have niche product types like senior housing, golf resort, among the myriad of choices that you may have. Market fundamentals remain robust. Transaction for the year are forecasted to have normalized, and pricing is strong in part because of the fundamentals remain sound. Relatively, we have high yields, good prospect for rental for those operating as villa type or condo hotels. You may also acquire high-rise apartments that are sold for at least USD 150,000, and these units may be acquired by a non-citizen, what we call the ground plus two acquisition. And on acquiring these properties for a price above 500,000 USD, as a non-citizen, you are provided with a long stay visa. The real estate market, we have more than 5,000 units that have been sold under the various scheme to non-citizen, to people of different nationalities. In terms of work and live in Mauritius, with the economic expansion of Mauritius, the Mauritian government is promoting openness to foreign investors, to talents, know-how, and retirees. Foreign nationals, you may opt to invest, work, live, or retire in Mauritius through various avenues, namely what we call the occupation permit, which is a mix of residence permit and work permit. Residence permit are granted to retirees. Permanent residence permit are also granted to those investing above 500,000. And this permit, the permanent residence permit, is for a period of 20 years, and an occupation permit is for a period of 10 years. Foreign national above the age of 50 years may also choose to retire in Mauritius under a residence permit. Mauritius is also positioning itself as a place for retirement to attract seniors. Persons who are above the age of 50 may retire in Mauritius and obtain a residence permit following a monthly transfer of 1,500 USD, which is for that person's own upkeep. To spend the rest of their lives, retirees normally relocate to location of their choice based on several factors such as good weather, cost of living, natural amenities like sea, beaches, less congestion and crime, as well as a community atmosphere. And Mauritius has all the attributes to provide you and become a popular destination for migrating retirees. And a number of incentives are provided to those coming and acquire or live in those senior living residences, like a 5-year tax holiday on all transfer made or remittances made to Mauritius. The premium visa. The premium visa has been introduced with the aftermath of the COVID. So a non-citizen may come to Mauritius normally and stay for a maximum of 120 days under business visa. Those coming as a tourist are provided with a tourist visa to stay in Mauritius for 180 days. But if a non-citizen who intends to reside in Mauritius for more than 180 days, today it's possible without the need to apply for an occupation permit or residence permit, but just by applying for a premium visa. The premium visa is granted for 1 year and is renewable. You may apply for a premium visa if you're a tourist, you're a retiree, you're a professional, a digital nomad, by going on the website of the government board, edbmauritius.org, and an e-visa is granted online. The requirements are you need to show evidence of enough monthly income to sustain a living in Mauritius. Ideal have to show that they have at least 1,500 USD and a child 500 USD. Insurance cover, medical insurance cover for the initial period of stay is one of the requirements. As all visitors, premium visa holder has to follow all health protocol in place, that of going for a 14-day quarantine. As for accommodation, the holder can stay in a hotel or another accommodation. Children may enroll in a private paid school. The holder of a premium visa cannot enter the Mauritian labor market. The main place of income should be outside Mauritius. In terms of taxation, the holder of a premium visa spending 183 days or more in Mauritius is subject to income tax as follows. Money spent in Mauritius through the use of foreign credit or debit card by the holder of a premium visa will not be liable to tax. And income brought and deposited in a bank account in Mauritius will be liable to tax except if a declaration is made by the holder of a premium visa that the required tax has been paid in his country of origin or residence. The benefits of a premium visa: children can enroll in private school, and you're eligible to acquire a residential property in approved schemes. Before concluding, just to tell you that investment opportunities in Mauritius are many and diverse. Despite the global economic downturn, Mauritius has continued to attract sizable investment in the country. This demonstrates that the country has exhibited a fair level of resistance to acute external shocks, which highlight the general relevance of long-standing economic strategies and the effectiveness of recent reform programs. All a result of the achievement in terms of new sector development, infrastructure bolstering, improvement of the business environment, and efficient macroeconomic management that have all helped to sustain economic growth while taking on steam the global economic crisis. We can see that Mauritius is a country where the right conditions are in place for the conduct of business, for investing, working, and enjoying a high quality of life. The Economic Development Board, we operate under the aegis of the Ministry of Finance, Economic Planning and Development. Mauritius welcomes investment and embraces business. The EDB, the Government Investment Promotion and Economic Agency, is well placed to assist your investment decision making and help you achieve success. Thank you.
Thank you, Sachin, for the very informative presentation on diverse investment opportunities in Mauritius, be it in the real estate sector or other sectors as well, and be it for living, working, or residing. I shall now invite our next speaker, Mr. Nanlal, to deliver his presentation, which will be focusing on bilateral agreements between Mauritius and India. Mr. Nanlal, could you please join us?
Yes, thank you, Amal. Thank you for providing me the opportunity to speak today. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good afternoon, and good morning from some of you, I believe, are from joining from Europe. So good morning to all of you, and also good afternoon to our friends in Mauritius and other parts of the world, as well as in India. So to start with, I would like to also say that I also would hope that you're all keeping safe. Today we see that the second wave across the world is again causing havoc with what is happening. Even if you look at India today, India has quite a serious issue in terms of the shortage of beds, shortage of oxygen, and whatnot. So it's a really serious issue. And most of the major cities that we see today in India, they have gone into lockdowns. Even in Mumbai, where I'm sitting, so we are all working from home, and more strict conditions are being imposed, so to contain the spread of this virus and to bring life, I would say, back to normal. So having said this, I would like to just run you through the presentation very quickly to show you what is happening between India and Mauritius. So if I can request my colleague to just go over the next slide, please. Yeah, so Sachin has made my life easier, because he has already spoken a lot about what in terms of the investment, the opportunities, and the role of the Economic Development Board. So which I will just go over the next one. The next slide, please. So here also it's a very okay. Next slide. Next slide. That has been spoken about. Let's go to the next one. Yeah, Sachin has already spoken about this one as well. So as I was saying, so yeah, next slide. Next. Thank you, guys. No, come back. Yeah, stay on this one. So in terms of the infrastructure, Sachin has, of course, spoken about it, but just to add on this is that today, as you can see, Mauritius, when we hear about Mauritius, most of us, most of the foreign visitors or foreign people who hear about Mauritius, they will think about Mauritius in terms of the beautiful beaches and whatnot. So, which is true. As a matter of fact, Mauritius is paradise on earth, as was said as was said by Mark Twain when he visited Mauritius in the 1800s. So today, but the country has been modernized, besides offering a very beautiful landscape in terms of the environment, the lifestyle, and in terms of the tourist opportunities for visiting and all that. So today, Mauritius has evolved in terms of its own infrastructure. We have a modern airport. The seaport has been again is continuing its expansion plan, and then the road infrastructure is being improved. We have for foreigners who are coming and staying in Mauritius, investing and staying in Mauritius for long term. So there are facilities such as education, schools, international schools, as well as healthcare. And in terms of the healthcare, we do have a public healthcare system, which is free of charge for the local population, but we also do have private healthcare providers also. So we have a very good robust system of healthcare and education system. So yeah, next slide, please. And so when we look at in terms of the infrastructure, as I mentioned, the infrastructure, so Mauritius also has a very good robust infrastructure in terms of its industrial landscape. What I mean here is that Mauritius, as I said earlier, it's not just about the idyllic, beautiful portrayal picture that we have of Mauritius, but it's also industrial activities that take place in Mauritius. And I will show you later during the slides that you will see that how Mauritius today has become a very strong player in the industrial sector, in the manufacturing sector, where today we are exporting to global markets across the world, including the developing markets, the developed markets, and also the emerging markets. Yeah, so some of these pictures that you can see, like you can see the cyber city there, you can see an industrial picture of a building, textile factory, and all that. Yeah, and one on the top right, you will see it's about the medical devices manufacturing companies which are based there. Yeah, next slide, please. So I think Sachin has already covered about this one. So let's go to the next one. Next one. Yeah. So on this one, as I mentioned, that Mauritius today we are exporting our products. That is, when we say exporting our products, we're speaking about made in Mauritius products, of course. That covers the bulk of our exports from what we are manufacturing and exporting. But at the same time, there are re-exports also which are happening to the region. But when we speak about the domestic production and which is exported, so today with the different agreements, with the different trade agreements, I would say that we have with the different number of markets, in a different number of markets, whether it is in terms of the developed markets, that is the US through AGOA, or into the EU through the Economic Partnership Agreement, and the UK today, and also in the region, that is COMESA, SADC, Indian Ocean Commission, and now we also do have the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, which has become into force since 1st of January this year. And then when you look at bilateral markets that we have access today, so there is Turkey, there is Pakistan, there is China, and the latest addition is with India. So all these markets, when we look at the markets, so today our preferential market access is covering nearly 70% of the world population. That's a huge number, 70% of the world population. Mauritius is a small country of 1.2, 1.3 million people, but we are covering 70% of the world population in terms of preferential market access. So this provides huge opportunities for investors, for companies to come and produce in Mauritius and export the made in Mauritius products to the world, to 70% of the world markets, duty-free or at preferential market access. Next slide, please. So briefly, a little bit about the Mauritius-India relationship. So what we see here that, of course, our relationship with India has not only started, I will say 53 years back, when the diplomatic relations were established, but way before that. In fact, when you look at the relationship between India and Mauritius, is back from the more than nearly 200 years today, because when you look at the population of the country of Mauritius, so nearly 70% of the population is of Indian origin. So we have a strong Indian origin population in Mauritius. So, and our forefathers, in fact, came to Mauritius as indentured laborers to work in agriculture, mostly in sugarcane plantation. And then from there, we have, then today, the country has been developed thanks to the contribution of our forefathers in Mauritius. Yeah. So, and as I mentioned, so there are, I mean, the latest one that we have with India today is the trade agreement. That's the SECPA. I'll elaborate on this a little bit further down the slides. Next slide, please. So yes, in terms of now, we see we have a very strong excuse me. So we have a very strong partnership with India. So whether it is in terms of the cultural space, education space, scientific space, economic business space. So it's a very strong relationship that has been developed over the years. And when we speak of business, or even in terms of the infrastructure, so today we see that there are quite a few projects that are being developed, infrastructure projects are being developed in Mauritius, and these projects are supported by India. For example, we have the Metro Express project, which is I mean, for infrastructure in terms of transportation network. So the Metro Express project, the first phase has been completed and is already operational from the capital city of Port Louis to another city, which is Rose Hill. And then the second one is being completed and probably will be operational before the end of this year. And then there is a third phase, and then the extension also will be developed by Larsen & Toubro, in fact, from India, which is developing the metro project in Mauritius. Yeah. So, and again, during the pandemic, we had the support of India in providing us with medicines. The supply chains, the supply lines were kept open for Mauritius to be able to procure medicines from India, be it in terms of the before the vaccines arrived. So there were hydroxychloroquine, that's the medicine being used, and then recently where the vaccines reached Mauritius. So India has really supported Mauritius during this difficult situation, difficult times. Yeah. Next slide, please. So when we look at the trade between Mauritius and India, we see that India is the third largest trading partner for Mauritius. So in terms of the exports from Mauritius to India, so the exports today stand at around $30 million, and most the main products which are being exported to India from Mauritius include medical devices, recyclable materials. So these are the main products, and some garments are also exported to India from Mauritius. And we also do import a lot of products from India. So that will be on the next slide. So in terms of our imports, you will see that we imported last year, we imported almost $400 million of products from India to Mauritius. And like any other country, you will see that India is supplying Mauritius with medicines. So as today, India is being referred as a pharmacy of the world. So India is providing medicine. So the main products that we are importing from India include medicines, include food items such as rice, mostly basmati rice, pulses, grains, cereals, and also garments and yarn and fabrics, and all those type of products we are importing from India. At the same time, we also import fuel, gas, and all that for our domestic consumption. Yeah, next slide. So, as I mentioned, the latest that has come in terms of preferential market access is with India, and this is about the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation and Partnership Agreement, which is a CECPA, that is a SECPA. And this, we will see that it is opening up new avenues for new opportunities for business people between the two countries. Next slide. So what is SECPA all about? So it has to be seen from a perspective where in the bilateral economic cooperation, it is a major milestone. This SECPA was initiated way back in 2004, 2005. That is more than 15 years now. And it reached conclusion when it was signed in Mauritius during the visit of the External Affairs Minister of India on 22nd February of this year. So it was signed in February this year, and then immediately after the signature, so there are certain internal processes that have to be completed. So these procedures were completed fairly rapidly, and then the SECPA has become operational since 1st April 2021. And very interestingly, this is the first trade agreement that India has signed with a country in Africa, the very first one. Yeah, next one. So next one. This for those who are interested with the SECPA document, we will be happy to share that with you, and you will see all the details in what's the SECPA covers and how you can take advantage in terms of whether you want to import products from Mauritius into India, or even if you want to export products from India to Mauritius. So yes, so the SECPA covers three main areas: trade in goods, trade in services, and economic cooperation. So when we speak of the trade in goods chapter, so the trade in goods, of course, will have the rules of origin criteria, the agreement on the preferential trade access, the tariff elimination, because there is a schedule for tariff elimination over a number of years, many products. what will be the cooperation in terms of customs, the trade facilitation, and the SPS and TBTs and all that. So, and very interestingly, in terms of the number of products that trade in goods chapter covers and the SECPA, for Mauritius, it provides preferential market access for exports from Mauritius to India for 615 products. And then for India, it is 310 products that Indian business people can export to Mauritius. Yeah, next slide. So just to give you a brief background, just to give you a quick snapshot in terms of what is there in the SECPA. So when we speak about the 615 products, so some of the products, and these are products of interest for Mauritius. So we produce sugar as a sugar producing country. We produce sugar, but interestingly, we also produce sugar which are known as special sugars. And these special sugars have been included in SECPA such that India can import sugar from Mauritius, these special sugars from Mauritius. If you look at the import duty structure in India for the import of sugar into India, import duty is at 100%. And the SECPA, Mauritius has been offered the possibility to export special sugars to India at 10% duty only. So we have been given a quota of 40,000 tons, starting with in the first year with 15,000, and then at the end of third year, we will reach the 40,000 tons. So from there onwards, it will be 40,000 tons. Again, as I said, at 10% customs duty only. Similarly, for alcoholic beverages, whether it is about rum, beer, wine, and all that. So normally the import duty in India is 150%, and we have been offered access at only 50% duty. So Indian importers can take advantage and import from Mauritius at 50% duty only. Similarly for garments and for canned tuna. Canned tuna, as you see, that it is already duty free and including garments already. Yeah. So yeah, next slide, please. So I mentioned trade in goods. So as I said, we do also have a chapter on trade in services, and trade in services covers 31 subsectors that ranges from insurance right to translation and interpretation services, but there are many more. As I said again, if anybody is interested to get a copy of the document, we will be more than happy to share that with you. Next slide, please. So what are the opportunities under SECPA or for Indian investors, or for that matter for global investors to set up in Mauritius? Let us speak about the manufacturing sector, because we have seen that it is providing preferential market access for 615 products. And here for Mauritius, we have certain priority areas, priority sectors, where we are encouraging investors to come and set up their units in Mauritius to manufacture products. Those products become made in Mauritius, and from Mauritius, these can be exported worldwide, as I said, to 70% of the world market at duty-free, at preferential market access, including India and also Africa. So here, as you can see, that some of the products are pharmaceutical products, medical devices, nutraceuticals, food processing, and we have started with what we call a pharmaceutical and life sciences project in Mauritius. In fact, an expression of interest has been launched for this pharmaceutical and life sciences park. So there is an opportunity for companies, for Indian investors, and including global investors as well. If they're interested to come and set up in Mauritius, they can take advantage of the current opportunity that is being provided, and they can submit their proposals under the expression of interest, and then from there they can take their project forward. Similarly, there's a data technology park which is coming at the Côte d'Or, which is in the center of the island again. So there at the data technology park, there is again an expression of interest that has come out for to develop high-rise buildings. So there are opportunities in these areas, and we invite investors, of course, from India and also from other parts of the world to look at these opportunities. Yeah, next slide, please. So I was mentioning about the Pharmaceutical and Life Sciences Park. So this is in the south of the island, on the way to the airport. So the airport is just 10 minutes away from the site. So this is showing you the site where it is, and plots are currently available for development in the Pharmaceutical and Life Sciences Park. Next slide, please. So what are the opportunities and the SECPA and the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement? Again, next slide, please. So as I mentioned, next slide. Yeah, so as I mentioned, Africa also we have preferential market access. SECPA with India we have preferential market access. So Mauritius now is in a central position to attract investors, whether they want to tap into the Indian market or whether they want to tap into the market in the region that is in Africa. So Mauritius becomes central where manufacturing can happen. Services also can be set up through structures in Mauritius in the Financial Global Business Center. That is, Mauritius is also the financial center. So structures can be set up for the business to take place from Mauritius to the world, mostly into Africa and also into India. Yeah. And I'll stop here, Amal. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your kind attention. So if there is any question, we will be more than happy to take that later. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Siraj, for elaborating on the transformation of the manufacturing sector to become a strong regional base and the economic partnership agreements which cover around 70% of the world market. It was quite an interesting presentation, and also for helping us and enlightening us on the relationship and cooperation between Mauritius and India, specifically on the SEPCA agreements with regard to trade of goods and services, as well as showcasing business avenues in industrial parks and data technology parks that are being developed in Mauritius. Thank you very much, Siraj. I now invite our next speaker, who is Mr. Dhawal Vadukul, to please join us.
Warm welcome and I would wish you very good afternoon and thank you for joining this particular webinar. Well, when we talk about Mauritius, there are two words that come to my mind: beautiful and serene. So one of the best places to be when you are going on your vacations, or if you look at the infrastructure, or when you are dealing with finances, it is one of the international finance centers of the world. So it's a complete destination altogether. And when we are making a choice for a residency visa with buying a property out there, definitely it really makes sense. Now, once we make the choice, there are certain things that we need to keep in mind. Being resident Indians, what are the regulations for sending the funds from India to Mauritius for such a purpose? Then there are certain impacting factors in terms of how a dollar-rupee movement might affect your decision making. And third is, how can the remittances be facilitated? And if you wanted to open an account in Mauritius, sitting here in India without visiting there, to kind of facilitate all your fund transfers and future needs, how do we do that? So that is something what I will speak about today in my session. So if you can just move to the next slide. So when we speak about the regulations which impact while you make the decision to buy a property in Mauritius, a resident Indian can transfer funds from India to anywhere across the globe, including Mauritius, under the Liberalized Remittance scheme. This comes under the capital account transactions because you would be remitting funds for purchase of properties outside India. And as a resident Indian, you are allowed to send $250,000, which is $250,000 per financial year. And by definition of a financial year, we mean a financial year starting from 1st April to 31st of March. If you see the table which is on the right side, at an overall level, year on year, the remittances sent under the Liberalized Remittance scheme have been increasing, right from $1.3 billion in 2014-15 up to $13.78 billion in 2018-19. Now, majority of these transactions have been the capital account base. People have been buying fixed assets outside India and have started investing outside India under the Liberalized Remittance scheme. And RBI has made this entire process in a very simplified manner nowadays. 2019-20 was an exception purely because of the reasons that all of us know. which is because of the corona pandemic. The movement of kind of funds was limited. People were kind of holding on funds, and hence there was a bit of decline in 2019-20. But yeah, if you're making a choice, definitely you should keep these regulations in mind with regards to remitting funds outside India. If we can move to the next slide. Now, the other important factor that one should consider, because you will be remitting US dollars outside the country, as spoken by me in the previous slide, that you, as a resident Indian, you can send $250,000. Now, when you're sending dollars, what is the factor that impacts you the most? It is the USD INR as a currency pair, the movement in USD INR. Sometime last year, in April, we saw USD INR at an all-time high of 77.38. And today, as we speak, USD INR is hovering around 75. It again, a month and a half back, it was trading at 72.50. Now, over last month or so, INR has been depreciating a bit. So whether is it a right time to send money outside India, whether INR will depreciate further. In fact, it's very difficult to gauge in which way the currency would trade. But looking at the movement and the factors which are impacting, in fact, in last month and a half, INR has been depreciating steadily. It has depreciated by almost 3 rupees to a dollar. Today in India, we are sitting at $583 billion of US dollar reserves, so which is substantial enough as a country to, in terms of the dollar that we are holding. So what are the factors which are kind of impacting? One is obviously the corona second wave, which has hit India, which has kind of made things a bit difficult. We have seen lockdowns in many cities. At the same time, there are certain attractive yields by given foreign which are available in the foreign geographies. We saw the Indian equity markets kind of raising from 8,500 levels in the National Stock Exchange to kind of moving to 15,000 levels. Currently now again trading at 14,200 levels. So there has been certain outflow of funds in the FII space, FDI space, which has led to kind of depreciation of INR. In the next 1 month or so, we see USD INR pair hovering around 74.50 to 76 levels. It will be a bit range bound, but with a bias on the upper side. So we can always see USD INR trading between 75 to 76 in the coming times. So this is one important factor which will help you to decide whether is it the right time to send money. Yes, I believe it is the right time, because if the currency is moving upwards, definitely you may think about locking in these rates. So yes, I believe this is one factor which you should take into consideration while making this particular decision. And from the way the trend is, it is the right time to kind of send money abroad. Now, the next slide, please. If you can just move to the next slide. Now, while you are sitting in India and you wanted to decide, you wanted to purchase a property in Mauritius for the purpose of getting the visa, you selected the property and now you wanted to remit funds. It is very important to have a enabler to ensure that all your fund movements from India to Mauritius happen in the best possible manner. You should have, for that you would require an account outside India, which is in Mauritius. That definitely will help you to get your funds locked, being parked in Mauritius. And that is something which SBM India can definitely help you with. We can help you open an account in SBM India as well as in SBM Bank Mauritius. What it does is that, let's say if you decided to buy a property today, you're not very sure in terms of when do you finally get the entire corpus remitted. You wanted to transfer in parts. By having an account, that definitely will help you, because you can get the benefit of a lesser exchange rate for remitting the funds. Once you have an account in SBM Mauritius, you can also look at other avenues in terms of associated with your property purchase. So this is something where we can definitely help you, and it is one of the biggest enablers to your decision making. So I would just like to summarize the entire presentation again. First, we covered the liberalized remittance scheme, which is kind of which you should know in terms of if you had to decide to buy a property, one can, as a resident Indian, you can remit up to $250,000 in a financial year. Second thing that we covered was with regards to the USD INR as a pair. I believe it's going to be range bound, but on the upper side, INR might depreciate a bit further. So a good time to send money, and this is kind of one of the aiding factors for you to decide. And third piece is with regards to facilitation of these remittances, you need to have an account overseas, Mauritius, which will also help you further to kind of get the entire documentation done and conclude the entire property sale. So definitely SBM Bank India can help you there. So I believe I'm done with what I had to speak about, and would be happy to take questions at the end of the presentation.
Thank you. We wish to thank you, Mr. Dawal, for these very insightful contributions on the Indian legislation and the remittance facilities. You spoke about transfer of funds and outright investments from India, dollar against rupee, Indian rupee volatility over the past 12 months period, and also thank you for elaborating also on the procedures to remit funds to Mauritius if someone is going to buy a property or transferring money for business purpose as well. Thank you very much. So if ever we have some questions, we'll take it during the question and answer session. Thank you. Finally, we shall invite our last speaker, Ms. Rene Boschoff, to make her presentation.
Hi guys, a warm welcome here from Mauritius, and thank you for the EDB for inviting me to speak to you guys today. Today I would like to introduce to you the developer team called Two Futures. I'm fortunate to work with the best residential property developer here in Mauritius. Two Futures has been on the island for over 14 years. We've been established since 2007. And we've got an extended footprint across the island, mainly focusing on the north and the west coast of Mauritius. What I love about Two Futures is we have an established brand and a good track record of delivering over more than 800 luxury homes and office under construction or delivered. Our development have a bank guarantee completion certificate from the bank. We've got a 10-year external building construction guarantee and a 2-year internal warranty. Two Futures' purpose is to deliver a top quality project offering exceptional lifestyle with a variety of different developments. Our developments are starting as from $269,000 US. We do offer payment plans on specific apartments and with as little as $10,000 US deposit. We also have a rental management service who will take care of all your property if you are looking to invest for pure investment with the aim of putting your unit in a rental pool. And you can look at anything for Mauritius between 3 to 6.5% rental yield per year as an average. Two Futures also assist all their buyers with the permanent residency scheme permit from start to finish. And we can, oh, sorry, next slide. Next slide. Great. Next slide. Great. So we're going to look at the map today. Most of the properties I'm going to speak today about is based in the north. I will present to you 4 different properties and 4 different price categories. The north is the most convenient place to purchase because of the great infrastructure. Most of the foreign investors prefer the north. It's a much bigger area. It's spread across If from an investment point of view, you look at units from the Tour Beach area right across to the Grand Gobe area. This is also a good market for investors wanting a strong rental return. There's a variety of different restaurants with different cuisines, from Italian, Indian, Mauritian cuisines. So we've got a variety of entertainment as well. As I've mentioned, the rental performs much stronger in the north. Next slide. For these 4 properties that I'll present today, you will get a beach club membership inclusive in the price. What's great about this beach club membership, it is exclusive to Futures homeowners. It is located in Pirabe, one of the best swimming beaches in the north. It adds value to your property because it has boat facilities, concierge services, restaurants, swimming pool. There's a shuttle collecting you to and from the airport and taking you to your resort. And also when you want to commute from your resort to the beach club, the shuttle will also collect you. Next slide. The first development I would like to present to you is 2 Beach Residences. 2 Beach Residences is a ground plus 2. It's located in Pirabe. It's wonderfully positioned with the best coastal living experience. Everything is walking distance from the development. It's walking distance from the beach, the grocery shops, shopping center, and restaurant. It's got a great nightlife on the coastal stretch as well. There's a good, it's a strong rental return of about on an average of 6.8%. As I've mentioned, it's a ground plus 2 project on freehold land. The prices are starting from $285,000. It's 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 113 square meters. And this is a project that we're still selling off plan. So we've got a special offer of only securing your unit with only $10,000. Next slide. As you can see, this development have a communal pool. It's got either 2 bedroom ground floor first floor units or a penthouse, but the penthouse have its own rooftop terrace. Next slide. As you can see, this rooftop terrace is spectacular with splash pools, and some of the units have views. Great. It's got underground parking, storeroom, and we only have 24 units to sell in this development. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, great. Okay, great. Key Resort Apartments. It's offering a resort-style apartment living with beach club access within a great location. Also in Pirabe, this is a PDS development. Now, this specific development will give you permanent residency immediately. We've started construction already with phase 1. There's only a few units left for phase 1. And then also Key Resort is not just an apartment living. These developments are all about lifestyle and community living. So great to have your family and friends with you. The rental potential here is 6.5%. We do have a very attractive payment plan of 25% deposit. Now, get your permanent residency in a year's time, 15%, and on completion, the balance of 60%. The prices start from $269,000. We also have low syndic fees. Next slide. Underground parking, storeroom, lifts. The actual development itself at the resort, it's got a clubhouse where you can entertain your friends. It's also have a fully equipped gym overlooking the communal pool and beach club membership inclusive. As you can see from the picture, The penthouse also have a private rooftop terrace. These private rooftop terraces have pergolas and splash pool, and it's on only selective penthouses. Next slide. Key Residence. Key Residence is also a PDS development. This development is currently under construction and will be complete this year. It's a great community living as well. It's on the coastal road, walking distance to the beach and the restaurants. So if you purchase here, you get your permanent residency immediately. We only have 7 units left, which is, you know, and they're quite spacious. I mean, the smallest one we've got left is 169 square meters for a 2-bedroom. It's all about outdoor living here in Mauritius. It's important to have a unit that's got a really nice veranda where you can entertain your friends or your family. The rental potential here for Key Residence is 5%. We do have a payment plan of 50% payment now, and then on completion 50%. The prices here starts as from $495,000. Again, low syndic fees, rental management service. There's lifts in the building, a big communal pool, and beach club membership inclusive. Thank you. Next slide. As you can see, nice and spacious bedrooms, built-in cupboards, ensuite, bathrooms. Next slide. Great. Thank you. Next slide. Okay. Le Residency de Montchazy. Now, this is specifically for targeted for people 50 years and above, but not restricted on it, and also great investment opportunities. Le Residency de Montchazy is a result of exclusive partnership between Ajit Demitis, the lead and service in residency for seniors in France, Two Futures, the developer, and the investment arm of Mauritius Commercial Bank Group here in Mauritius. The construction is almost finished and handover is in a few weeks. Next slide. It's a boutique development with 2 or 3 bedroom apartments designed with a luxury hotel lifestyle in mind. And some of the units have views from the top floor to Coin-de-Mire. All the ground floor units have splash pools and a garden section, and you can access it through the upper level with stairs or lifts. Buyers can get a permanent residency immediately, and we've got 1 unit left for the investors' opportunity of a guaranteed 5% rental return for 5 years. Low syndic fees, and this kind of development is suitable for people who like to live the swallow living lifestyle, live here for a couple of months and then live abroad a couple of months. Also for the business people living on the island part-time, or for people over the year of 50. This specific development is located in the heart of the smart city on the new Montchazy Boulevard road. And it's a short drive to the beach or to the golf course. We also are getting a new hotel next door, which is going to be built. And it's a really nice, lovely neighborhood, close to shopping centers and restaurants, which is across the road. It all adds value to investment. You literally don't have to walk around. Next slide. Next slide. The facilities that this development offers is a wellness center with in and outdoor swimming pools, a fitness room, hammam, sauna, spa, hairdresser, aqua gym, gym classes, and fitness classes. For the creative ones out there, there's also creative studios for painting, arts and crafts. There's also a restaurant and bar on the premises at Le Domaine de Grand Pays, which is the neighbor of Le Résidence de Montjazzy, and adds value to your property. We've got concierge service, taxi service, and 24-hour gated security, infirmary with 24/7 emergency service as well. Next slide. And that's just a wrap from me. If you want more information, you can have a look at our website, twofutures.com, or you can contact me on WhatsApp or on email, and I would be happy to assist you with any queries you have on specific developments. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rene, for the very interesting and practical presentation, showcasing luxury properties offerings, rental yields, as well as lifestyle and community living in Mauritius. I'm sure that we'll have a lot of questions that we'll direct to you after the presentation regarding queries on the offerings by To Future. Well, we hope that the information shared by our panelists have been useful and informative to all of you, and shall now move to the question and answers session. We have one question which I would like Mr. Mohabeer, Sachin, to address. The question is as follows: could you elaborate on how real estate transactions take place? Is there a check for proof of funds? Can foreigners get access to bank financing in Mauritius?
Thank you, Amal. So just to tell you that the real estate market in Mauritius is very well regulated. Actually, we are governed by the Mauritian Civil Code, where the acquisition of property has to go straight through commercial banks in Mauritius. So the first step would be for you to locate where you want to buy your property. Once you have made your decision, then the second step is for you to sign a pre-sale agreement. And the pre-sale agreement is between the vendor and the prospective buyer, where a deposit money has to be put in an account. And that's also in a commercial bank in Mauritius. So one option will have to three commercial banks that will carry out the KYC. The KYC is also carried out by the real estate agent, the vendor, the developer, and the economic developer that at one point in time approve your purchase. When you purchase a purchase is also just as I mentioned in my presentation, you have two ways to buy your property. There's a building property, so it's already constructed. You come in and get your property, or you can buy a property of land. So if it is of sales, then there is a schedule that you will respect, and the deposit money that you put is maximum 25%. So once the KYC has the bank has done the KYC is deposit, your developer submit an application on your behalf to the economic development code to obtain an purchase a property under the different schemes in Mauritius. And once we provide authorization, the acquisition have to go through in the Republic in Mauritius, and the Republic will prepare the deed, get the deed signed and registered with the government of Mauritius, and it is up to the Republic to ensure that he explains to the parties of the different elements of the transaction, the obligations, the vendor, the buyer, and also on residency, purchase your property, get a residence after you sign, and that, as I mentioned, for approximately 375,000 USD, you get your residence permit. Whether you can have bank financing Mauritius, yes, you can have bank financing with the first 500,000 USD. That money will be transferred from abroad, and the remaining amount can be taken from a bank in Mauritius. Thanks.
Thank you, Sachin. It was quite interesting discussion about how you can finance your project in Mauritius, or even transfer money and invest in buying property, or even doing business also in Mauritius. Our next question is with regard to what are the options to invest in a company or business in order to obtain long-term residency. I would like to ask Raj to please intervene.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes,
Am I audible?
you can go ahead.
Thank you, Amal, for the question. So, yeah, the options to invest in Mauritius. So, as I mentioned earlier during my presentation, so there are ways and means of investing in Mauritius. It can be in a business activity, in the sense that you can invest in a manufacturing activity or in a services-based activity. It can be a company that is coming here to set up a structure and develop business. Or it can also be into the acquisition of a property, because we do allow foreigners to come and acquire property in Mauritius, whether it is about a residential property, as has been mentioned previously, but we also do allow acquisition of business, property for the business. So if a company is coming and setting up a manufacturing unit, for, let's say for pharmaceutical production, so we allow that sort of acquisition to happen, where the company, the investor, can acquire the land and develop the property, the project on that land. So this is allowed. So that sort of flexibility is provided in the regulations in Mauritius. And what was the next part of the question, Amal? The residency part, right? I think you're muted. You're muted.
Excuse me.
Yeah. The second
Next
part
part of the question is, what is the route for a non-citizen to apply for citizenship?
Oh, no, and in the same question, the first question, I think you had the second part. No, was it about residency?
Yeah, it was about citizenship. No, the second part is in order to obtain long-term residency.
Okay, long-term residency. Okay, so basically, when we speak of residency in Mauritius, so we have to look at it either from an investment perspective or even from a retiree perspective. So an investment perspective means that an investor can apply for what we call an occupation permit in the investor category. So the investor, when they apply for an investor permit, occupation permit in the investor category, they will get a permit that allows the investor to be in Mauritius for a period of 10 years. So 10 years, and this period, permit, again, the occupation permit can be renewed after the period of 10 years. So this is one possibility. The second possibility is somebody who is coming and working as somebody who's coming and working as a professional. So the professional also can apply, is eligible to apply for an occupation permit as professional. And for the professional, it is for a period of 3 years. And then for the retiree, so a retiree means that somebody who is coming and retiring in Mauritius at the age of 50 or above, then the person, when the person is applying for occupation permit as residency, as retired person, then they will get it for 10 years. And again, then what happens is that if somebody is acquiring a property, a residential property, for example, and that when the person is acquiring the property, residential property, then the person gets a residency, is entitled to the residency as long as the person is holding that property. The moment the property is disposed of or is sold or something, then the person doesn't have the residency. So, meaning that they can keep it for as long as they want. This is allowed in the regulations, right? And the second part was, like, I think the next question was about citizenship. So citizenship, it will depend on a number of factors. First of all, we have to look at that you have come to the country, you have invested in the country, you have stayed in the country for a number of years, and then you can submit an application for citizenship at the Prime Minister's office, and then it will be at the level of the Prime Minister's office that the citizenship application is determined and then approved or not approved. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shivat. Yeah, it was quite clear. And with regard to real estate companies, Rene, I think I would like you to intervene on this one. There is a question with regard to what types of insurance are provided to a buyer by a developer.
Okay. So I've mentioned previously about the GFA, the bank completion guarantee. So if a buyer wants to invest in one of our developments, for instance, we sell a development off plan. We have to sell 70% of this development to be able to get this GFA from the bank. So they would pay their deposit into the notary's account. It does not come straight to the developer. It goes all to the notary. It's secure. We do have a contract that we call a CRP. It's a contract of preliminary reservation. That contract is valid for 1 year. If the development has not started within 1 year, we would contact the client again and say to them, do you want to extend your contract, and still be in this development, or do you want to pull out? And then we'll give them their deposit back. So there's some security in that. If they do pay a deposit, it's safe in a notary's account. We have to reach 70% of the sales before we can start construction. So there's a few securities in place before, for all investors to know when they invest here in Mauritius.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Rene. I have one question for Mr. Dhawal Badikul. It's regarding the question is what are the bank charges applicable for the transfer of money from India to Mauritius? Because we understand that an account should be opened in Mauritius as well for the transfer of money, but what are the bank charges in India for the transfer of money from India to Mauritius?
So there are different institutions, different banks which charge differently. But on an average, if we talk about charges, there is a flat fee of around 1,000 rupees, which is being labeled for such transactions to be effected. And apart from that, the exchange rate which is being applied. So when you are transferring funds, you need to be cautious about two pieces. One is the exchange rate which is being applied on your remittance, which bank provides you the best remittance rate for transferring the funds, and what are the charges associated. So just to give you a perspective, there is a fixed fee of 1,000 rupees. Apart from that, there are no other specific charges which are associated with sending the remittance.
Okay. This is very clear. Thank you, Mr. Dhawal. Yeah, I think we should end the webinar by now. We shall attend to all the other questions and queries by email, and would like to have your feedback on the webinar as well. We hope that everyone gained some insight from the sessions, and we conclude our program on behalf of all our trusted partners. Thank you everyone for attending this exclusive webinar. Should you have any other queries, please feel free to email us on the hpd@edbmauritius.org. Thank you all presenters also. Stay safe. All the best.
Thank you, Amal. Thank you, everyone. It was a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you.